Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Sedona International Film Festival. I'm your host, Carol Kahn. We are coming to you live on YouTube as well as live at Yavapai College. We'd also like to thank our sponsors and our title sponsor, Mercedes-Benz of Northern Arizona. I always like to introduce our filmmakers first by saying that Sedona is recognized as the Filmmakers Film Festival, and we've also, second year in a row, have been named one of the top 25 coolest film festivals in the world.
Nice.
Did you know that?
I didn't, but congrats.
Thank you. And I'd like to introduce to you Sherry, who is one of our filmmakers, and please introduce your film.
Sure. I'm Sherry Galke, and director of Old Girl in a Tutu, Susan Rennie Disrupts Art History.
And so I can see just the clip off to the side here, and every time I see the frame, I have to say, it just makes me laugh. It makes me smile. It's such a cute little film, and I love that. So give us a synopsis of the film and what it's all about.
Sure, yeah. It's about a woman, Susan Rennie, who was a scholar, an academic for her whole career, and late in life, after she retired, she returned to photography, which had been her first love, and started to do different bodies of work. But this particular body of work is she inserts her body into master works of art. And she does that to disrupt and critique the male gaze in art history. And, you know, she's a whip-smart academic, so she very dryly likes to, critique the work and explain. She's explaining the work to me and why she did what she did, and she's very knowledgeable about art history. So it's very insightful, but also very funny.
And how did you meet her?
I knew of her since the 70s because she and Kirsten Grimstad, who's the curator of the exhibition and is also in the film, they did something very important in 1973. They traveled across the country and documented the feminist movement. And those are the days, before the internet. We didn't have any really way to know what women were doing across the country. So they documented the coffee houses, the health collectives, the art galleries, the art centers, and put it in this book called the New Women's Survival Catalog. And so, back in the 70s, we all had this book, and it was like, what's going on in Chicago? What's going on in New York? And they did this. So she was sort of legendary to me. And then, fast forward a few decades later, and I'm friends with her wife, and I, came to know about this body of work, and I just thought it would make a really adorable short film.
So we do have a clip of the film, so let's take a look at that, and then we'll talk some more.
Sure.
Okay. I love this.
It's so fabulous to have you here. Something that I hadn't expected in the octogenarian years.
She's got it. Yeah, baby, she's got it. Well, I'm your Venus, I'm your fire.
That's the one I love.
That's what I want to be. I'm the old girl in the tutu.
I love this.
Thank you.
It reminds me a little bit of like Iris Apfel, that later in life, this is now all of a sudden she'd become really popular. But this is just a classic. It's like really seeing her in her art form, and it seems like she has no inhibitions whatsoever.
Yeah, it's one of the things I really appreciate about her as a sort of role model. As an older woman. I mean, I'm an older woman myself. She's older than me, but that she, the whole time I was filming her, I would say, like, how do you feel about when I edit this? Do you want like a filter to soften your wrinkles? And she's like, no. She really is completely herself, behind and in front of the camera, and I love that. And one of the things I didn't go into this film with this thought, but after I made it, I had this thought, which is she is out there representing on film for us an older, butch, lesbian woman. And where on television or in film do we see women like that? There, older women already are such an invisible population in film and television, and then lesbians are often, young lesbians have become sort of exoticized, and there's interest, but who she is, we don't see. And it's so refreshing to and inspiring, I think, for women and men of all ages to see someone aging so beautifully and being smart and witty and funny and comfortable in their own skin.
Right. And you know what I love about it, and you've broached on a lot of the topics that I'm like, yes, yes, yes. But the fact of the matter that she's in her 80s, correct? And now all of a sudden she wanted to get back into photography or do photography. And to me, it's like, sometimes people think that you're at a certain age, your life is over, and, they kind of like don't do anything. But, to challenge yourself or to do something like this, I'm like, you go, girl.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's definitely like just one of those. And, you're right. It's like even as I sit here and I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, like I can see my wrinkles. It's like, oh no, I got to lose 20 pounds.
Yeah, we're so self-critical,
Yes.
but we learn that in the culture,
Yes.
and it's sad because I think it really holds us back.
And I think you brought up another point that I love, and I ask a lot of filmmakers this question too, because I believe that everything we do, and even just like in projects or films, we're out there shooting a subject, and we think we know the story, which we do, but we always walk away with something that affects us personally that now we can take on that's a good learning lesson. And I think you just mentioned that you learned something from her. Was there anything else that you took away from this?
Well, this is maybe not exactly answering your question, but I would say that when I make films, I always want to be representing someone that is not seen often in dominant culture. And so it's often women, older people, LGBTQ, and artists. I have a real fondness for it because I come out of the visual arts. I was a visual artist and a performance artist before I was a filmmaker. And I feel like one of my superpowers is that I can help audiences understand the artistic process and bring audiences into that a lot of times art making is considered elitist and confusing. I did a film about an African-American abstract painter, Alma Thomas, and that was so great because people see abstract art and they're like, I don't get it because it's not figurative. And to bring them into her process and why she made the work she did and what inspired it was just, when people say you help me understand art, that's something that I
Yes.
feel that's a compliment to me. That it means a lot.
Yeah, I think anytime, that you realize, and sometimes it's very subliminal, and sometimes you don't even know until somebody tells you that what you've done for them or that it helped me understand something. And I think that's like a really big gift, because it's important for us to tell someone's story and to make sure that it's authentic and accurate. And then when we do that, like I said, I think we're giving that gift in return, and
Absolutely.
sometimes we don't even know what that is until later.
Yes, yeah. And film is such a place of empathy. I mean, because you bring your audience into that person's world, and, especially if they're seeing something they haven't seen before, they suddenly have this new understanding and empathy. So to me, art making and filmmaking is entertainment, but it's probably for me social justice, social change. I really do approach my work as an activist, and of course you have to be careful because you don't want to be preachy. You want to be artful
Right.
about it.
Well, it's just such a fun film. It's a beautiful film,
Thank
and you
you.
told a very, very wonderful story. So thank you for sharing that with us. And where in Sedona is the film being shown? Is it shown again?
It's playing one more time tomorrow at 4:00 in a documentary shorts 3. And hopefully I'll be back next year with my feature that I'm just now
Yes.
finishing. So,
And that's what we keep talking about through this film festival is we want filmmakers like Sherry to come back again and again and again, because then you're already part of our family, but then we look forward to having repeat filmmakers come back, and it's just really cool.
well, it's a wonderful festival, and you've got great audiences, and it's so wonderful as a filmmaker also to have full audiences. Lots of people come out for this this festival, and that's
Yes.
really gratifying.
Well, thank you. Thank you for sharing your film with us, and thank you for sharing you
Thank
with
you.
us. So I
Thanks so
appreciate
much.
that. Yeah.
My pleasure.
And don't forget to continually follow us. We're on YouTube Live here. We're almost getting to wrap up our week. But if you've missed anything, it is archived on YouTube at the Sedona International Film Festival site. So just keep watching.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that. I love your glasses too.
Thank you.
We're out.
Yay!
We
Good
did it.
job. Good job.
Thank you.